Hello, I'm Dominic Walker, JMW's Inside Man, and I'm with Helen Kelsall. Helen is a trainee solicitor in JMW's motoring department. Hello, Helen.
Hello, Dom. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. Now, with over 1 million e-scooters on the roads at the moment, there are a few pitfalls, I think, that people need to be aware of. So when riding an e-scooter, many people think that they can't face prosecution, but they actually can, can't they? What are the consequences?
Yeah, well, it's a funny one at the moment because we've obviously got the government trials, which is, I think, causing a bit of confusion. The government trials run in various councils across the UK for about 12 months. So if you're going to rent a trial scooter, the requirements are slightly different because normally the company you rent the scooter off will sort the insurance, and the licensing MOT requirements are dealt with slightly differently. Obviously, the position if you buy a private e-scooter is very different. E-scooters are still considered motor vehicles, powered transporters specifically, so similar to segways, hoverboards, and for that reason, the rules haven't changed for private e-scooters. So people don't realise that the consequences can be quite significant. For example, if you are driving an e-scooter on any public land, be that a cycle lane, be that a footpath, you can still be prosecuted for a number of offences. The most common offence would normally be driving without the appropriate insurance and driving without a valid licence because you aren't aware that there are specific requirements that need to be dealt with, which is unfortunately what we're seeing happen to some of our clients. And, they're just completely unaware that they ever needed to put those things in place. I mean, with COVID, a lot of people have been using e-scooters to get around and avoiding the tube and things. So we've seen quite an increase in cases at the moment.
And you mentioned people are unaware. I mean, that's my opinion as well. So many people have said to me, I'm thinking about buying an e-scooter. Do the courts take a more lenient view then because people just aren't aware?
Unfortunately not, no. I mean, the law is in place. When you purchase an e-scooter, there will be, and there should be, and if there aren't, you definitely need to come and see us, but there should be T's and C's in place that you need to read very carefully. It's like buying, an expensive motorbike. You would certainly look into what's required, but with an e-scooter it just doesn't seem as serious, I suppose. You're just planning on whizzing around town on one, but yeah, you really need to be careful. In the courts, unfortunately, we've had cases in the courts and they aren't willing to be more lenient, despite the prohibition not being known. The law is the law, and ignorance to the law isn't a defence, unfortunately. There are things that can be done and representations that can be made, and we would certainly make those for you because unfortunately people do find themselves in these situations quite often. But again, the courts aren't very lenient, no.
And just from a practical point of view, Helen, there's that scary moment when someone faces prosecution. What should they do?
My initial advice would be contact a solicitor straight away, because it really can, without realising, these offences carry significant penalties. For example, driving without insurance, the valid insurance, third-party insurance, you're looking at 6 to 8 points. So if you've then charged with driving without the appropriate licence, that's another 3 to 6 points. So worst case scenario, 8 points and 6 points, you're looking at a potential disqualification, taking you over 12 points, taking you off the road. So obviously that impacts your life significantly. And even if the courts are lenient and you get the least amount of points, i.e. 6 for driving without the appropriate insurance and 3 for driving without a license, that still takes you up to 9 points. And if you're somebody that's already got, 3 points or 6 points on your license, you're looking at being taken off the road. So my advice would be, as soon as you get any documentation through, to contact a solicitor and get some advice.
Thank you so much for your insight, Helen. It's eye-opening and really quite scary for people who've just bought an e-scooter. If you'd like to contact Helen, get some advice, you can email me insideman@jmw.co.uk or call 0161 82 81 999. I'm Dominic Walker, JMW's Inside Man.